Have you ever been drunk or high and thought of this amazing idea, only to realize later it wasn't as great as you thought? During my junior year of college, my roommate Anthony convinced me to try weed for the first time. I was super nervous, but he promised it would help with my anxiety before finals. That night, after 3 hits from his bong, I had what I thought was the most brilliant idea ever. See, my parents had this weird obsession with my grades. They demanded I send screenshots of my grades every single Friday by 6 p.m. sharp. If I was even a minute late, they'd threaten to stop paying my tuition. I hated how they treated me like a kid who couldn't handle college. So in my high state, I decided to create the most elaborate grading system they'd ever seen. I spent 6 hours straight making a PowerPoint presentation with animated transitions, graphs, and even a pie chart showing my grade trajectory. I added stock photos of students studying and included quotes from famous scholars about the importance of education. The cherry on top? I recorded myself giving a formal presentation about each grade, wearing a suit and tie I borrowed from Anthony. As you can see from slide 47, I said in the video, pointing to a completely nonsensical graph, my participation grade in chemistry has increased by exactly 3.72% since last week's report, primarily due to my strategic deployment of hand-raising techniques. I even included a section called Emotional Grade Analysis, where I discussed how each grade made me feel, complete with cartoon emojis and sad violin music playing in the background. At 5:55 a.m., still high as a kite, I sent the 89-slide presentation to my parents. Then I passed out on my desk, completely proud of myself. I woke up to 47 missed calls. My mom was hysterical, thinking I'd had some kind of mental breakdown. My dad had already called my academic advisor, convinced I was having a crisis. But that wasn't even the worst part. In my high state, I'd accidentally sent the presentation to my entire contact list. My professors, my boss at my part-time job, my high school teachers, even my dentist received my grade analysis, complete with the emotional breakdowns and violin music. My calculus professor replied with just, "My boss sent me a concerned email asking if I needed time off." My dentist's office called to reschedule my cleaning, probably thinking I'd lost my mind. But my parents? They went nuclear. They drove 4 hours to my campus, convinced I was doing hard drugs. They burst into my dorm room while I was still wearing Anthony's suit from the presentation, now wrinkled and stained with energy drink. My dad found the bong under my bed, which led to a 2-hour lecture about drug abuse and responsibility. My mom cried about how she'd failed as a parent while going through my sock drawer looking for more drugs. The whole time, Anthony sat in the corner trying not to laugh, occasionally muttering slide 47 under his breath, which would send him into silent fits of giggles. The school counselor had to meet with all of us to convince my parents I wasn't having a psychotic break. I had to explain that yes, I got high for the first time, and no, I wasn't running an underground drug operation from my dorm room. The presentation became a campus legend. People would randomly come up to me and ask about my strategic hand-raising techniques. Someone printed slide 47 and hung it in the student center. My calculus professor started every class by showing one slide from my presentation, using it as an example of what sleep deprivation can do to a math major. My parents eventually calmed down, but they added a new rule. My weekly grade updates had to be sent in plain text, no attachments allowed. They also made me sign up for a drug education class, where I had to sit through 6 weeks of lectures about the dangers of marijuana, all while the instructor kept asking me to explain my emotional grade analysis methodology.